Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to use some of our compost tea. I'm going to show you how I go about using it, or how I'm going to go about using it in the future, I should say. But first, let's open it up. Take the stuff out. Set that up here for now. Take the compost bags off. About that, some idiot on a motorcycle on his way to getting killed. Now, when I did the weed tea, one of the things that we mentioned is that it smelled like crap. This does not smell like crap. Now, the idea behind that is that obviously there's not as much bacteria in this. And I will tell you another interesting thing. Once I squeeze the water out of this, the volume of my compost has probably gone down by almost half. I wonder if it's a different color. The compost is still somewhat dark, so I probably could have leached a little more out of it, but we did good. I'm happy. Alright, so we'll set that aside. Let me grab a stick to stir it up with. Nice and mixed around. So it all looks to be pretty much the same consistency. Let me show you kind of what we got. So that is the color of it. As you can see, it's kind of a golden brown. I don't know whether or not it would get a lot darker if I let it go longer, but it really doesn't smell like anything, which I think is good because we don't really want it stinking like bad bacteria. So there's a couple of ways. Hang on, let me rinse my hands here. Alright, so how do you go about using your compost tea? Well, we want to put it on the garden, obviously. Alright, this is laden with bacteria, fungus, all kinds of different creepy crawlies that we want to get into our garden soil, and in some cases on your garden plants. A couple different ways you could do it. One, I had to dig this out of my garage way back in the back because we haven't used one of these in years. But this is a hose sprayer, and theoretically what you could do is fill this up with compost tea, and then you plug a hose onto the end and just run it through that. It'll suck everything out of here and spray it on your garden. Now at some point I may do this on my yard because it'll give me a bigger broadcast area to where I can actually do a wide swath. So I'm thinking about that later on. The issue with this though is if I do this, then the water I have here that comes out of the hose is all chlorinated water. It's all city water. So basically I'll be defeating the purpose by killing the bacteria and fungus that I want to survive with the chlorine in the water. I don't have a pressurized sprayer coming out of my my rain collection yet. That may be for a future date. Alright, so a secondary possibility is to use a pump sprayer like this. Basically, you just unscrew the top. Well, hopefully. Haven't had this one open in a while. You fill it up, and for this one, this holds a gallon, or this holds 1 gallon. So, you know, however much you want to dilute it, you know, some people say 10% dilution of compost tea to water. Other people say 50%, 50-50, half and half. I'll show you what I'm going to do. The only issue with this sprayer is that to get rid of this gallon of water, it takes me probably 15-20 minutes for it all to pump out of there. So that's a longer process. If I want to do a good foliar spray, I may end up doing that in the long run because it just comes out in a finer mist, and it'd be excellent for spraying leaves because that is one way that plants do uptake the different substances and so on through their leaves. So that might be a good idea, and I may do this at a later date, but today I'm not going to do that because I want to use this up fairly quickly. So the other option is to use a watering can, which is going to be what I'm going to do today. So with that being said, I'm going to use about that much. What's the percentage? I don't know. Maybe 20%, 30%, but about yay much. So we're going to pour that in there, and we're just going to fill that with water. Bucket. Now, unlike the weed tea, this one shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue getting this one on your hands, on your clothes, if you do happen to spill a little bit, because it doesn't stink. It doesn't smell like rot. Alright, so I'm hoping that this will do the trick for me. I really think it'll help. It definitely can't hurt. I need to do some watering anyway, so this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to use my watering cans, and I'm going to use about that much to 2 gallons of water. So this is a 4 cup? Yeah, this is about 4 cups. So about 2 cups per gallon of water is what I'm going to use for now. And then I'll go around with that and put it all over my plants. Now I did just recently buy this measuring cup. It was a couple of bucks at Walmart, and I bought it on purpose because I want this for outside. It's plastic, so I won't break it, and it's enough to where I can dip it out and put it into my watering cans. But also it's got the handle on it, which is more important, so when I do my weed tea, then I'll be able to dip that out without getting my hands down in the gross stuff. Alright, so let me fill these up and I'll show you how I put it on my plants. Alright, so I got a couple of trees right here. This one right here is an Italian honey fig. Now on the trees, I feel like I can just kind of dump it around. Yeah, I know I need to pull some weeds. And I'm going to put about half of this on each tree. And hopefully, that'll be good stuff. This is also a baby papaya tree. And then over here, what I have is my squash plants. These are my acorn squash plants, which I planted out to see if I can get them to grow this year. And on those, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to douse all around them. I'm going to get some on the leaves and some in the soil. I probably won't put as much on each one of these, but I'll probably go ahead and use this 2 gallons on all of these. I don't know, I may add a little bit more. Basically, all of it's free, so I mean, there's no cost to this, so I can keep using this until I run out and not have to feel bad about the cost, or am I putting too much or not enough on each plant. So to my knowledge, compost tea is not something that you have to worry about burning your plants with. I don't think it can cause any harm. I don't think there's any real downside to it. So go crazy is kind of what I've taken from everybody else. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and try and use up this compost tea. It's been about, well, let's see, I finished up yesterday around 1, and it's now around 5, so you're talking 28 hours plus or minus a few, right between the 24 and the 48 hours that I'm looking for on how long I want to get my compost tea brewing before I use it. All right, so that's how you make, well, I'll link a video on how I made the compost tea. But you make the compost tea and then use it. It does you no good. You can't really save it, because if you save it, it starts to go bad, it starts to turn into more of a weed tea, where it's more of a bacterial kind of tea, which still I don't think is going to be a huge issue. I don't think it'll be a problem. You could continue to use that as well. But for what I'm trying to do, I think this is going to be a big solution on how to get my things growing like I want them to, and to really truly improve a lot of the soil that I have around here. Alright, so thanks once again for stopping by. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and most importantly, grow something. Get something growing in your yard. You never know when you're going to be your own grocery store. Alright, thanks once again.